No, my harimai, welcome. This is Deborah McMahon talking astrology with you. And today we're talking about the astrological forecast for the week starting on 8 August 2022. This week, the Sun will transit between 14 and 21 degrees of Leo. It's birthday week for more of the Leos in our lives, so happy birthday to you, Leo. Each week, the Moon moves through about a quarter of the zodiac. This week, she transits through parts of Sagittarius, all of Capricorn and Aquarius, and parts of Pisces. And the full moon occurs on Friday at 19 degrees and 21 arc minutes of Aquarius. We will talk more of the full moon very soon. These are the transits that I have chosen for the week. We start the week with 3 planets in dignity. That's Mercury in Virgo, the Sun in Leo, and Saturn retrograding in Aquarius. On Monday, Mars perfects its square with Saturn from Taurus to Aquarius. On Tuesday, Venus moves into opposition with Pluto from Cancer to Capricorn. By Friday, Venus makes her ingress into Leo. And later on Friday, we have this year's Aquarius full moon at 19 degrees and 21 arc minutes. We finish the week with Uranus at 18 degrees and 52 arc minutes of Taurus, moving slower and slower, readying for its retrograde station towards the end of August. Here are the charts. As usual, the ascendant, midheaven, and house placements won't be relevant to you unless you live in the same part of the world as me. But it doesn't matter where you are in the world, the planets will still be in these signs and degrees and in the same relationship with each other. These are set in New Zealand time because that's where I am. So if you live outside of New Zealand, you might find that these transits perfect a few hours differently according to your time zone. You can convert these for your part of the world if you like, but they will be approximately right. When we have planets in their home signs, this means that they are able to express their essential natures more easily. They are more able to be themselves. This means that for this week at least, there's a part of your personal astrology impacted by a strengthened Mercury, Sun, and Saturn. Whether it works well for you depends on the houses they transit in your chart and how they interact with your personal astrology. Mercury is associated with our thoughts, perceptions, and communications, and when it is in Virgo, these abilities are heightened. We are more thoughtful, discriminating, and perceptive, and our instinct is to turn these gifts to practical service. Look to the house in your natal astrology associated with Virgo to find out which part of your life benefits from this transit over the next 2 weeks. When the Sun is in Leo, we shine brightly. The Sun gives us our sense of self and is the source of our vitality and creativity. The Sun in Leo brings confidence, and entertainment, pleasure, and friendships become our focus. Saturn, when in the sign of Aquarius, brings rigor and structure to our ideas about how society ought to be. We can be quite progressive in our thoughts and unafraid to hold views outside of traditional authority on an issue. This is an egalitarian sign, and what it wants for itself, it wants for us all. Mars square Saturn on Monday. This occurs from Taurus to Aquarius, both fixed signs, and a square aspect puts any 2 planets at cross purposes with each other. So this is quite full of tension involving 2 planets that are in many respects antithetical to each other. Mars is about going after what we want, and it's often described as courageous, sometimes even aggressive. Whereas Saturn is cautious and it has a view to the long term, often retrenching now in order to position itself for a better future. This is a recipe for tension and frustration, particularly since we are dealing with 2 stubborn signs. But there is also potential for personal adjustment, albeit hard won. Caution may win out in the end, since Saturn is in the overcoming position relative to Mars, and it is strengthened by being in its own sign. Venus-Pluto opposition on Tuesday. Well, this is a fast-moving transit, and it occurs as Venus perfects her opposition to Pluto from Cancer to Capricorn. Perhaps an event will occur that will have us relating very deeply, perhaps even dipping into shadow issues. Because Pluto also shares the sign of Capricorn with the Moon at the time of this opposition, there is the potential for emotional patterns established in early family life to show through as an influence. Venus and Pluto in combination point to either sexual relationships or money. Themes of attraction, passion, obsession, and control could be explored. But remember, this is a fast-moving transit, and so the opportunity to explore this is fleeting. On Friday, we see Venus make her ingress into Leo. Big, grand, beautiful gestures are a little more likely when Venus is in Leo. Leo is all about self-expression and operating with confidence from the heart. And Venus is our relationship planet, our want for connection with others and for harmony, and she influences our appreciation of beauty and art. Venus can also signify our feelings for self-worth and possessions that we value and money. And because Leo is a bit flashy, those of us who are single may feel we deserve to have a little gilded or bedazzled something. This transit is with us for a little over 3 weeks. Then later that same day, we see the Aquarius Full Moon. When in Aquarius, we are concerned with what goes on collectively and with how we think society ought to be structured. Aquarius is often seen by others as detached and rational, but there is also a strong humanitarian streak, often backed by a willingness to speak out and take action for a cause. And the fullness of the moon brings illumination or culmination around our feelings about these issues. Now, this full moon is within a few degrees of a dignified Saturn, perhaps lending a resolve for more discipline or structure and organization to our newly won insights. A full moon always occurs in exact opposition to the sun, and the movement of the moon into this opposition completes a much larger configuration in the zodiac. Sitting in square by close orb to the sun-moon opposition are the moon's north and south nodes. These are the eclipse makers. They mark the crossing points between the sun and the moon's apparent path around us on Earth. If a lunation occurs near to the nodes, then we experience an eclipse. This current lunation sitting square to the nodal axis, another exact opposition, is a tension point in our current eclipse series occurring across the signs of Taurus and Scorpio, which has us alternately exploring our want for security and possessions that we love versus our instinct to plumb the shadow of our psyche or intimate connections. Together we have 2 oppositions and 4 squares, creating a grand square involving all of the fixed signs, a great deal of tension indeed. This has been building across the entire week. Remember, we spoke of the Mars-Saturn square on Monday? Well, Mars and Uranus, for good measure, remain closely configured to the north node point in this fixed grand square, adding to the tension and bringing an element of disruption and agitation. We spoke of the triple conjunction of Mars, Uranus, and the Moon's north node last week, so you can go back to the last week's forecast for a refresher about what this means. We finished the week with Uranus at 18 degrees and 52 arc minutes of Taurus. It's now just 10 days shy of reaching its retrograde station, so it is moving very, very slowly indeed. We know as a planet slows, its significations intensify. So what can we expect with an empowered Uranus? It's the unexpected. And it also signifies technology and revolution, an increased desire for freedom, and breakthrough, either psychological breakthrough or a breakdown of old structures. Uranus is an outer planet, so it's possible that this may play out more on the world stage than in our own lives, unless we have a planet in our personal astrology in the same degree of Taurus, or interacting with it by aspect. The parts of your chart to look at are the opposing point at 18 degrees of Scorpio, or the squaring points in Leo and Aquarius, where this week's full moon occurs, or the trining points in Virgo and Capricorn. When Uranus and Taurus affects us personally, we may find a desire to break free from that which we have counted on, or even become complacent about. The house associated with Uranus in our personal charts may indicate the area of life this is experienced. For us all, the themes opened up this week could continue until near the end of August, when Uranus reaches its retrograde station, and then return again in May of 2023, when the Maverick planet returns to the same part of the zodiac after completing its backwards trek. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, or at least gained some insight, and thank you for your time. As always, you can encourage me to continue with these weekly forecasts with a like, comment, share, or subscribe. And if you want to be notified when these forecasts are published, click that notification bell. My aim is to keep these forecasts focused on how astrology influences our personal lives and to provide about 10 minutes of entertainment, enough to consume with your morning coffee. Noho oro mai. Stay well. Goodbye until next week.